Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Vario Voices.
I'm Lisanna Dominguez. I'm born and raised in San Jose.
So my name is Corina Herrera-Loera.
My name is Pamela Campos. I'm a candidate running for San Jose City Council in District 2, and today we are talking about Latinas in leadership. I was born and raised throughout the city from downtown to East San Jose and have been living in South San Jose for most of my life. I've attended local public schools from kindergarten through college. I graduated high school here in my district at Gunderson, and then attended Dienza Community College and graduated with a child development bachelor's degree at San Jose State.
Went to Independence High School and then transferred over to Dienza College, and then did 3 years there, where then I transferred over to UC Santa Cruz and majored in politics. I'm a daughter of migrant workers. My mom is from Durango. My dad was born in Zacatecas, but they were raised and had a family in El Paso and Ciudad Juarez.
And my Mexica, my Aztec, my indigenous, my spiritual name is Siwa Chimali, which is Siwa means woman and Chimali means shield in the Nahuatl language, and together. And so my name is a woman warrior with the shield, protector. Both of my parents were born and raised in Zacatecas, Mexico. They got married in Valparaiso, Zacatecas. They sacrificed a lot. And, I think of my mom and I just think of her at that age. And I'm like, wow, she left everything, all her family to come to a place where she didn't know the language, didn't know the customs. Where I'm at now is because of them. And, it's just also a little bit of giving back to their hard work. My roots is my anchor, right? And who I am. So my parents were born and raised in a time where it was like, eres buena por tu bisabuelito, right? Era español. And they highlighted my bisabuelito all the time, which is definitely a part of me, great. But nobody talked about my bisabuelita. And so later in my adult life, in my 20s, when I started doing Aztec dancing, and my mom started coming to the ceremonies, and she kind of started opening up about her indigenous roots, and me curaban con el peyote. She was dying of polio, and her tias, literally saved her with the medicine, right? And then she's like, and then little by little, right? She's like, ¿sabes qué? Tu bisabuelito era español, pero tu bisabuelita era bichol.
My parents are very hardworking. My dad was a truck driver for construction, and my mom was a cannery worker. She worked at Mariani Packing Company, which was located in Japantown, and now it's not. So I very much grew up with, seeing them do the grind daily, waking up at 3, 4 in the morning, and then getting home relatively late. But it instilled in me a value that I live by to this day, which is, hard work and hustle is important. And I think that it's really gotten me to where I'm at now. So I'm very grateful to my parents for having created an environment where, one, I could be successful and have privilege, and then more importantly, have these incredible values of perseverance and being resilient. My emphasis has always been in education, and I've been an educational nonprofit for a while now. So I have been able to see the disparities that exist and continue to exist. And so I really feel like that's the fundamental purpose, is a sense of responsibility that I have, to give back to our community in a way that allows them to navigate the American school system to be successful. A majority of school districts that are in under-resourced areas do not get the same funding from the state versus higher property tax valued areas. We see that right now in East San Jose, for instance. They get at least 10 to 12,000 per student, versus other higher tax valued areas get about 27. And so that huge chunk of funding that isn't allocated to those school districts are causing a ripple of disparities, including access to classes like AP courses that could be taught to advance their opportunity to be competitive for a 4-year, college and career readiness and advising, extracurricular activities, math courses.
So what empowered me to be active in local politics was my experience in the early care and education system that we have here in Santa Clara County. As a preschool teacher, I started working at $12 an hour, and after I got my bachelor's degree, I was only able to raise that wage to $16 an hour, and no matter what school I looked at, the wage was the same across every school. So I really wanted to make sure that I was making an impact in our young children's lives. And I started working as a developmental specialist, conducting developmental screenings for kiddos ages 0 to 5 and meeting one-on-one with their parents to figure out what we could do to best support them. And in those conversations, I was so surprised to find that so many parents struggled to access and afford childcare in their communities, and it was something that they felt would really be able to support their children in being able to thrive. And so when I realized that there's this issue where parents are paying a lot of money into a system that the early care educators aren't seeing that benefit in the wages, there was something broken there, and it was not just up to parents and providers to figure out. So I got involved in local politics because government is that missing link between why our families are struggling and them being able to thrive and access the tools like high quality affordable childcare in their neighborhoods that enable them to be able to go to work or continue their education or contribute to our communities in whatever way they are able to.
The equity's not there yet, right? Some have a little more than others. And so continuing to fight, and our families need this, and our community needs that, and having to show up at all the meetings and go to public comment. I'm not saying that we're not going to have to, right? But the advocacy, it's like we've been fighting all our lives. When are we going to have somebody there at the decision-making table that understands the issues so that our community doesn't have to fight all the time? My community, who's already stressed out and trying to figure out how to make ends meet, or how to, access resources, or how to get the language that they need, they won't have to fight as much anymore. And so that maybe I'm breaking barriers and being part of that trailblazer in the today, so that future generations don't have to work as hard. That maybe I learn about what a PAC means, that in the future, when I'm not an elected official, I can, retire and hold PACs to help others that were in my shoes. Corina Herrera-Loera, running for County Board Supervisor of District 2. So part of what I've done and will continue to do is continue to support our families. And when I talk about families, it's all right from the 0 to the elderly. More recently we opened up an early learning center, right? And so it's when we provide our children with the needs, then they don't have to, get into juvenile justice or, so many other things. Like if we invest early on, then we don't have to pay for other things. And so really passionate about serving our children, our youth, obviously providing resources to our parents, our families in its entirety, being part of that sandwich age right now where I'm helping take care of my mom. She recently had a double knee surgery, so I had to take time off, making sure that our elders are not like left, on the side, that we also are thinking about them, because in 10 years there will be 1/3 of our population. And so we get to invest in the infrastructure now so that, we're not like in crisis mode or anything like that. And then obviously, as we're providing our families with what they need, that will then have a ripple effect into having safer communities as a whole.
I'm running for San Jose City Council in District 2. And it's important that Latinas run for local office because we make up a large majority of the population. As women, we represent over half of the population, and as people of color, we are becoming the growing majority. And so when we don't have our voices represented in these very important decision-making spaces, our lived experience is being left out of the conversation. For so long, our government has really benefited a small majority of our population, and it's up to us in this generation to be able to break that and make government work for all of us. And so as a Latina and as a young person running for office, it's really important that we get activated and that we share our power in those spaces because we know these issues. We have lived through many crises, and especially when it comes to climate change, I know that as a young person, our generation has had the least amount of responsibility in why things are the way they are, but we have a lot of potential to be the solution to making sure that our generation and future generations are going to have a safe planet to live and thrive on.
I started to be inspired to be in local politics in two ways. So I think of it as personal and professional. Personally, as I shared, I had to navigate the school system on my own. I was a child that had to translate to my mom and tell her that I failed French, that I failed math. I saw my friends struggle with financial hardship in being able to stay in college. I saw my siblings struggle with navigating college and the school system as well. And so it's my personal journey that has really kind of led me into this direction of being politically involved. It's so valuable in being in positions of decision making when you are reminded of your own personal journey and the journey of others, and how much your decisions could really influence the current students that are going through their own journey. And I believe that it's so vital for BIPOC leaders, for women of color, for Latinas to jump into elected office or local politics, because one, we bring in a lens that other individuals don't have, which is the lens of the community, our own personal journeys and our history and navigating the system, and we could really add value to decision-making tables. So I always like to encourage Latinas to step in and lean into these opportunities, because the more women that we have in these positions, the more the voice of our community is being heard.
So how can you get more civically engaged in your local community? Well, I would recommend finding a board or commission that you're really interested in and tuning in and listening and participating. Whether it's City of San Jose boards or commissions or city council meetings, there's also county-wide boards and commissions that you can participate in by attending the meetings in person or virtually if that's still an option, and reading the agendas beforehand to have a general idea of what's going to be happening in the meeting. Paying attention to the conversations, the issues that these folks are discussing, and when you feel inspired to share your thoughts and opinions, there's the option of public comment, and being able to use that as a way to share what your feelings are about the issue. That's a really important way to start to activate your voice. The next way to elevate your civic engagement is serving on a board and commission. So applying for those vacancies and making sure that we have representation on all our boards and commissions, because right now the City of San Jose and the County of Santa Clara have boards and commissions with vacancies on them. And so when we have those spaces vacant, sometimes those commissions and boards aren't even able to meet to have their meetings. And we're also leaving out the voices of people with lived experience, people who are very connected to this issue and therefore very connected to the solutions. So making sure that you are finding opportunities to elevate your voice in boards and commissions and encourage those around you to elevate their voices on boards and commissions as well. You can also help folks get elected You can vote for them, you can work on their campaign. Right now, my campaign could use a lot of support, and we have opportunities for volunteering, for door knocking, for helping with fundraising. All of that is really important to making our campaign successful, getting our message out to the voters, and hopefully being the candidate that resonates with our community and gets us elected.
I am running for the San Jose Evergreen Community College trustee position in this year's special election, which is on November 7th, 2023. So individuals could get involved in the campaign by just being aware that there's a special election. We know that it's already challenging to get individuals to vote on presidential elections. But something like this, where it's the only thing in the ballot, it's one, important that our community is aware. So I'm very thankful and grateful for you, Arturo, for opening up the space to make our community aware that there's, they have a chance to vote for the next trustee. We have to make sure that individuals that are sitting at these positions of decision-making are individuals that are trusting and that are going to have the community at the forefront of whatever they decide to do. Be aware that you're going to get a ballot in October and that you have a special election November 7th, and that you tell your neighbors, your friends, tias, tios, comadres, like tell everyone that they get a chance to vote. We can't dismiss these races anymore. Every person that we put in positions of decision-making is important now moving forward.
So primaries are March 5th of 2024. I do have my website that people can go to and donate there, and that's corinaforsupervisor.com. You could also email me at corinaforsupervisor@gmail.com. And we are going to be, we've already started to walk on the weekends, every weekend. Slowly, we're in September, so slowly as we gear up, we'll be walking on the weekdays. And coordinating fundraisers. If you want to host a fundraiser, also let us know. As I mentioned, the other candidates have more funds that they can work with for different reasons. But I'm working hard, from like the knocking on the doors to having the fundraisers, making the phone calls. So if you feel like you're passionate about certain things, you want to take care of the sign in, at the table for the volunteers, if you want to knock on doors, if you want to help me with phone calls, it'll all be greatly appreciated.
So March 5th is the primary date. So if you feel inspired and ready to be a part of this movement, you can follow us online. The handle is Pamela, the number 4, and SJ. That's also our website. It's pamela4sj.com. You can learn about our events and opportunities to volunteer and stay in touch with what we're up to.
I'm going to say right now, 100%, you probably already are a leader in your own way, in your organization, in your profession, in your household. And so how do we transfer all of those skills that you have into positions where you can now make decisions about the community? And so
always keep your dreams alive. I never thought I'd be here. And once like a door opened, like creators like, no, we need more of you here. And so, I love what I do. I've served the community in different hats, and I never realized, like, I went into college and I'm like, I'll be a probation officer, and I've been doing that for 17 years, and it's been a great career, and I've helped many youth and families. But like, I didn't know what, saying yes to an opportunity, right? What that would create. And so now here I am running for county board supervisor. So just always be open to what creator, if you believe in creator or just in general, if an opportunity presents itself, say yes, and you never know where that will take you to, thousands of lives in a positive way. So I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful for my ancestors, and I look forward to, doing my work now so that future generations past the time I'm alive are able to thrive with just a little work that I was able to do.
I really hope that you vote in March if you're able to, and even if you're not, find a way to help a candidate who you support get elected, and start tuning into local boards and commissions and your city council and your board of supervisors meeting, and learn about what issues are on the subject, giving public comment when you can, and finding other community organizations who are working on the same issues that you're interested in, because there's a chance that there is a community out there. And if you can find that network of support, whether it's transit, environment, childcare, labor issues, there's a community out there for you to get connected to and learn about improving the lives of yourself, your neighbors, your family, your friends. It just takes asking the question and making sure that you know that there are no closed doors in life. Just ask your questions and you'll get to where you want to be.